Greetings. Sorry, I want to take a drink of my tea before I got cold. Welcome today to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is lesson 5 in our walking through the Wildwood tarot deck here, where I'm doing a 3-card draw every weekend. And this, if you were just watching, you might have just saw me a second ago because I just did last week's. I finally recorded last week's reading. The cards I have in front of me now are the cards I did today. This is today's actual reading draw. I'm not sure what to call it because I'm doing it to compare cards more than I'm doing it to do a reading. Of course, when you shuffle cards and you deal cards at any time, the cards come out are the cards that are supposed to come out. So we really do have to consider the reading, and I guess it has to be considered. These have to be considered readings for me, even though that's not maybe the purpose. I see the cards being very relevant to my situation, so I would say that they very much are my own cards. So I'll call it a reading. Even though it's meant to be an exercise, a learning exercise. Okay, just want to be clear about that. And in such, I have notes in front of me because I am comparing some of my journal notes with, I just said, some of my journal notes with the Rider-Waite system, with some of the author's notes about this deck, to look for the differences, to look for any differences that I may be missing. Okay, so excuse me if I look away for brief moments to see make sure I make the points that I want to make. Okay, getting to the point. I don't want this to be a long video. So getting to the point, I pull 3 cards, and one card we've seen before, which is the 5 of Bows, which is the empowerment card. You see this figure on the hill, red to represent a god, a fertility god. I forget his name. And then with a bow, and then the remaining 4 bows are on the ground in front of the hill, on the grassy hill in front. That corresponding to the 5 of Wands and the Rider-Waite deck you are familiar with, these young men and their wands raised in conflict, apparently. Okay. The next card is the Green Man, number 4 from the Major Arcana. The Green Man, beautiful card. You see the face of the Green Man, the whole body of the Green Man, and he's staring down into his cauldron below, which corresponds to the Emperor card in the Rider-Waite. And my wipe away. The figure, lone figure on his chair, and finally the Page of Arrows, or the Wren, sweet little wren, corresponding to the Page of Swords in the Rider-Waite deck. Okay. Now, what do I want to say about these cards? Let's look at them one at a time. Well, first of all, I have some, you might look in that past video to see what I said about the, first of all, the 5 of Wands. Let's go to the 5 of Wands first. We'll go backwards here. The 5 of Wands, I always say about this card, the fact that it does look like it's some kind of a struggle or something, a battle. It could be a battle, but at first look, but as you look at it, they're all really equally matched. They don't appear to be, these young men do not appear to be hitting each other actually with these wands. They just appear to be waving them about. Knocking them sticks together maybe, but not hitting each other with the sticks, which is good. Very equally matched people, so I always look at this as a competition card. This being a card that signifies some kind of a competition, or some kind of a conflict that's just a small conflict which is inhibiting your ability to move ahead. Okay. Now, I'm going to come back to this in just a minute. When I look at this card, this card, of course, here, called empowerment. We don't see other people we don't see anybody really in this illustration. The god of this fertility god, and fertility, what is growing within you. So this is a power card, a struggle, whatever kind of struggle is happening, I would say would be within the querent, some kind of internal struggle, or a struggle that the person is having with other, maybe with fears, maybe with your fears, facing your fears, facing something that's blocking you from whatever. It's an internal blockage, though, rather than this. It doesn't say that. It doesn't show that, right? The other thing that I see a difference is, the reason I say this is because there's nobody else in this card. There's no people in here. So this has to be some kind of an internal struggle. The other difference that I see, the more I look at this card from the Five of Wands, now realizing this, of course, is my hoi polloi deck, it might be a little different from actual Rider-Waite decks, because some of them, the illustrations do have a little bit of variations. But this one, like I said, that everybody seems pretty equally matched. I saw right away the difference is they're very colorful, aren't they? But the one man, the one in the middle, the figure in the middle, is not quite as colorful, number one. And number two, everybody else has their wand raising way high, like high above. The guy in the middle, he's still got it down a bit, almost still on his shoulder. And I'm not sure why, but in my mind, it just came right to me. The phrase that came into my head real quickly was monkey in the middle. Did you ever, as a child, play the game Monkey in the Middle? I don't know if they still play that today or not. We used to play it a lot, where people would be tossing a ball back and back. Everybody would be tossing a ball around, like a big, like a ball you use for dodgeball or soccer ball or something like that. And you'd be throwing the ball, and trying to get it to the guy across, and there'd be somebody in the middle trying to capture the ball. If the person, the monkey, is able to catch the ball that you threw, instead of it going past to the person you're throwing it towards, then you end up and you have to be the monkey. The monkey gets to come out of the game. So it's a game. I guess that's why I was thinking of it. And I thought, not that he's a monkey in this picture, but it just made me think of the figure in the middle acting a little differently than the other ones, made that phrase. And when I said monkey in the middle, all of a sudden I thought of, this is something that's keeping him, these people are blocking him. And the more I look at it, all their wands are raised, and they may be blocking him. He might be trying to come out of there, but they're blocking him, simply blocking him. They're not hurting him. They're not attacking him. But maybe they're blocking him. So something is blocking him. Okay? But what is it? And in this card, we're looking elsewhere to see what is blocking us. Yes, it could very well be inside us that's blocking us. And I see a lot of times the word, I think, if it's coming in here, let me see. One of the notes that I took on this, I think I mentioned, having the tendency, a lot of people, when they come up against something the competition gets a little tough, they get angry, or they get afraid, or they get frustrated. They're reacting to the the opponents. They're reacting to what's going on around them rather than staying focused and listening to their own voice and going forward and trying to figure it out on their own. Okay? Keeping yourself moving forward and not being put off by what's going on around you. Okay? Now this card, in the Five of Bows, is all about that. It is all about choosing your destiny. We've had this card before. If you want to go back in one of my videos, I'm not sure which, but you could probably very well see it. If you went to birdandthecrone.com, I have little images for each of these with the 3 cards on the table. I'm pretty sure, I hope I'm not wrong, that we just did this card a couple weeks ago. Or it wasn't a couple weeks ago. It was in one of the first 3 videos, which I did last summer. That's how bad I am about keeping up with this. But anyway, I think that's what we're talking about then. That's what my notes tell me, that this is all about having that. If you do not choose to succeed, you will not. Now, in a way, this fellow is not really choosing to succeed. He's not choosing to overlook the stuff around him. But, he's still focusing on what's around him. This is defeating what is inside us. The fears we have inside us. Not realizing you have the power to do what you need to do. Not realizing you have the tools. Okay? So this is empowering through self-empowerment. So it's sort of the same. I think it can be read the same. But the Five of Wands is not always read that way. The Five of Wands often just is referring to a struggle, an external struggle. And I think that's one difference in this set. We're not talking about an external struggle at all. You could theoretically say that these bows here on the hill, there might have been a struggle there, but they're all lined up. There's no struggle. They're just lined up there. Okay. And the fact that this is a fertility god figure, I have to say that's something growing within us. That has nothing to do with outside. Okay? So that's that difference. Okay, next we have the Green Man, number 4. And the Green Man we are comparing with the Emperor card and the Rider-Waite. And the Emperor card, the first thing I see, well, first of all, let me hold them up beside each other first. You're going to see what I'm talking about right away. Here we go again. Look at the difference. The Emperor card, in the background of the card, is very stark, isn't it? It's just very, very, very stark and cold. There's barren mountains and, it's just all you see in this card. He fills it up, is him filling it up. It's stark, in big contrast to the outside. He's somebody very strong to be reckoned with. He's somebody who has great authority. He's a leader. He's some kind of an expert. He commands your attention looking at him, right? He's looking straight forward. He's looking straight at you. He's not looking sideways. He's not looking out the slits of his eyes or the corner of his eyes. He's looking straight at you. Okay? This is the person, maybe the person that you need to impress if you want to get anywhere. There might be a person. Okay? This is the person, it could be a force within yourself that governs your actions. Some kind of representing perhaps willpower, representing self-control, whatever. Isn't that interesting how we're following these cards? How this follows. How you're going to win the competition. How you're going to be noticed, right? Isn't that interesting? How this follows. It's very much standing out, very much a no weaknesses. We don't see any weaknesses in this card. With the symbols that he's holding, the symbols on the chair, nothing. It's just a very, very strong card. Kind of an in-your-face kind of card, right? The Green Man card. What is I love so much about the Green Man? Difference right away. You know what we love, what we all love about the Green Man. You know, the Green Man has been he's seen. Oh my goodness, for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. You go to Europe, you see his image everywhere. I went to we actually counted. What do I want to say? Where were we? We were actually counting how many images of the Green Man that there were when we were somewhere. And you know, you lose count very quickly. We were actually at Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, and that's one of the places it was. And I have a brochure. How many images, you know, carved images of the Green Man that they have at, there at the chapel. And we even brought a the Green Man that I have out in my sunroom came from there during one of my visits to Scotland. It is representative of the male energy in nature. It is representative of how you relate to the world. How you relate to the world. Okay, here he is. His face is a part of coming out of. It sort of reminds you a little bit of the lynx in the last reading, the last thing, how he blends in easily with the in his surroundings. The Green Man, you know, if you just were walking, you know, to glimpse around the leaves, you would not maybe even see a face in there. Some of them particularly are drawn that way, that you can hardly even see the face. He's such a part of it. It's difficult to discern where the Green Man stops and his background begins. Okay. Here he is putting all of his attention into the cauldron below him, and the cauldron is representatives of the storage, what stores all of the energies of creation, everything in the world that is stored within this cauldron. Okay, so the Green Man is about getting help, where this man, the Emperor, is about getting help through some kind of a power figure, through somebody who just knows, who is an authority figure perhaps on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, on what you want to achieve. The Green Man is the figure that is going to remind us that we can get what we achieve with the help of the world around us. And this is what we do as witches, isn't it? We call upon the elements, the energy of the elements, to help us in our work. The energies of the God and the Goddess to help us in our work. We know the importance of being grounded, of being in alignment with the earth, and so this is it's not so much just being an authority. It's not so much just having the tools. It's not enough to just have the ability and the skill and the desire and the intention. It's a matter of being in alignment with our world. Okay. Okay, so that's a very interesting card. I love the differences. We got to see the differences there. Finally, we have the Page of Swords. The last card is the Page of Swords. Actually, it's the Page of Arrows, the little wren. I want to talk to you about the Page of Swords first. This card, what comes to my mind when I see this is King in the Hill. I'm King in the Hill. It's a young man again, a young game. The pages are young. It's reminding us that the cards are, the pages represent youth or something early, and early steps, and early, the early part of aspiration, some kind of an acquiring, the beginnings of a journey to acquire or accomplish something, a goal. Sometimes, of course, with the swords, very often we're talking about ideas, or we're talking about communication, well, I don't know if you ever played King of the Hill. We've certainly never played King of the Hill with the sword. But if I were going to imagine playing this kind of a game, I would say, if you want to, where would a child run in order to take command? Up a hill, right? Up a hill. That's where most people would run. Up a hill, stand at the top with a sword. Anybody try to get up there, you could knock them down, right? But he's up there and he's all alone. Do you notice that? He's up there, he's all alone. He's not just up there. He's up in the clouds. He's up in the clouds. And anything he's going to accomplish, anything he might want to accomplish, any goal or achievement he wants to acquire in this world, any idea he has that he wants to make a success of, he's got to come out of the clouds, right? He's got to come down out of those clouds, come down to earth, and get to it, and get to work, get his work done, right? So, this is kind of it's a bit of a warning that, yeah, you get a great idea, you can be real excited about it, you got so excited he ran up there, he wants to do it, but if he's gonna manifest his ideas, he's gonna come down with the other people, he's gonna align himself with other people, okay? He's got to be on the same page with some people around him. He's got to get the help of those around him to achieve anything. You don't do anything alone. You don't do anything all by yourself. Okay. Now, in contrast, we have the little wren in the page of arrows. Excuse me while I get a drink of my tea. I think I've let it get really cold. Thank you. The wren in the Druid tradition, the wren was held as a totem animal of prophecy within the Druid tradition. It's a very little bird. If you've ever been out in the wild with the birds, the wren, you can hear the wren's song. It's a very, very clear little song, pretty sharp, pretty loud. They're able to make a lot of noise for a little bird. Sometimes you hear the sound, but you can't see where the bird is. They're small. They're able to hide in the bushes, just kind of like that lynx, right? Hide in the bushes, separating themselves like he separated himself by going up a hill. Okay. But the Druids believed that this was one of the powers that this bird had. The fact this bird was so powerful and was able to make prophecy. I don't know what the word is. Foresee things, give you clues into what's going to happen, was that had great wisdom because it saw so many things around it all the time. From its vantage point up in the trees, hidden up above, where nobody could get to it, right? But it also reminded us to listen. They remind us to listen. I did a video a while ago where I had a little bird. Do you remember Little Bird who came to us for a brief while? That I was sitting out in my front garden one morning, and it was quiet. I was alone, and I was just sitting there in my garden, and I was listening to the birds, and I heard a young crow, which I knew right away. It was a young crow in distress. And I was able to locate that little crow by the sound of its crying. Now, other people were in the neighborhood, other people could hear it, and I've had friends say to me, well, how do you know? How do you know? You know it because you get used to it. You have to listen. You get in tune with the world. You get in tune with the world. Get in tune with the world. Get in alignment with the world around you. It's amazing what you can find out. It's amazing what you can learn. It's amazing how much wisdom you can acquire. And that's the sound. That is what we hear from this little wren card. Okay? Yes, youth and determination, great. They're going to make you, you got to have the determination. You have to have the desire. You have to have the, I got to go get up and and gonna have the get up and go, they used to say, to make things happen. Okay, but unless you have the skills, unless you have the skills, unless you have the wisdom, unless you have the, to have people around you that can help you achieve your goals, your ideas are just gonna peter out. You're gonna burn out. They're just gonna burn up. Okay. So those are the differences that I see in the cards, for one thing. Again, one last thing I want to just point out, looking down again, he was up in the clouds, up above everybody else. This little wren, that's snow around him, that's not clouds, right? He's on a tree, up in a tree, overlooking the water, overlooking the land, and the little snow. Taking it all in, not separating himself at all. The fact that you don't see him is just because he's little. It doesn't mean he's not there, okay? So that was a little bit of a difference. Okay, like I said, there might be more. There's probably lots more to do with these cards. I'm not going to go on everything with the cards. I'm just trying to tell you the little exercise also that I'm doing here today. Obviously, the Wildwood Tarot. You might not have any interest in the Wildwood Tarot, and that's fine. I would love to see you do some videos showing me how you go about learning a new deck. Do you compare? Do you compare it with another deck or not? If you remember, I did a couple of videos also on when I was trying to learn the Cat Tarot. One of my readings that I did at the fundraiser last Samhain. Looking at we were looking at the cards through the eyes of a cat, through the life of a cat, right? It's a really interesting exercise. I'm wondering how you go about. I'd love to have your methods. I'd love to learn your methods of how you learn a new deck, how you familiarize yourself with a new deck. Okay. I'm an old dog. It's not so easy to teach me new things, but I'm learning. Anyway. Thank you so much for coming and watching me again, and I'm going to try to do these every weekend. To be honest, though, if I pull 3 cards that I don't think are that interesting, I will just skip it. So I don't want to flood my channel with nothing but these, but I'll put them in a playlist so that if you'll know if you don't like the Wildwood, just avoid the Wildwood. If you want to find them all, they'll all be in my tarot playlist. I might separate the tarot. No, I'm not going to separate the tarot. I'm going to have a tarot playlist. If it gets too big, I'll make a Wildwood playlist. You don't care. You don't care. Okay, anyway, thank you for coming to my channel. I am Rebecca the Good Wife, and I wish you blessings.